What's up, horse racing fans? Welcome to another episode of the Inside Post. Here we are with the Belmont Stakes weekend racing at Belmont Park, hopefully. I'm sure most of us have heard about the wildfires in Canada. The wind's blowing it pretty heavily into New York. Track conditions or air quality has kind of been a little shaky. So hopefully we will be racing on Saturday, June 10th at Belmont Park, and we get this Belmont Stakes in on the correct date at the correct track. So we're going to handicap this card for you. We might as well have done the whole card with all the stakes races that are on here. Make sure to hit that like, give us a subscribe. We are so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark that we have been trying to reach for the Triple Crown races. We appreciate everyone for following, communicating, commenting, interacting with us. We appreciate it. And let's dive into this card. We're going to kick it off with race 3, 6.5 furlongs, the True North grade 2 stakes race in here for 4-year-olds and up. In here, number 4, Elite Power, 4-5 favorite, and every bit is why he should be coming from that King Abdulaz's race course, I believe is what it was, that dirt sprint, a grade 3 sprint over there, beating out Goodnight. And before, we have seen him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint and the Vosburg grade 2 stakes race as well, beating out CZ Rocket and Jackie's Warrior. So obviously the nod for the 4-5 favorite makes sense in here for that early pick 5 sequence. If you are singling or going a little bit shorter ticket, this would be the race to go 1, maybe 2 deep. Next, we're going with number 5, Strobe, 2-1, Florent Giroux and Brad Cox. Speed figures are just a little bit off of Elite Powers in here, coming out of that grade 3 at Oaklawn, running a 99. Was beat, of course, by Skelly, finished second. But the horse has hit the board 1 or 2 in each of its 6 starts. So obviously, definitely a contender, not on the same field of Elite Power. And our long shot pick will be Fearless with Luis Saez for Todd Fletcher. Just comes out of a grade 3 race at Parks. Was kind of eased up, so that's a big question mark. But before that, the horse was finishing first or second in the grade 2 Brooklyn, in the Oaklawn Handicap, in the Ghost Zapper, the Gulfstream Park Mile. Done really well, posting 100s to 99 speed figures. And at 15-1. If you kind of toss out that last race, this horse is probably second, third choice, looking at the class, the speed figures, and it's been basically pretty heavily bet in each of those races. So hopefully everything's okay with this horse coming back in off of being eased up last time out. This was back in September, so it does come off a pretty heavy layoff. So we'll see. Again, probably a good priced horse in here to use with the 2 top favorites. Like always, we will post down below our betting card from our blog that you could see our entire structure of how we are structuring our tickets for the pick 4, pick 5 sequences. So make sure you check that out down below. Race 5, we're going a mile, and on the turf, we have the grade 3 poker stakes for 4-year-olds and up. Again, this early sequence could be a little chalky with Elite Power and coming in here with Chez Pierre. Coming out of that Maker's Mark Mile, grade 1, 101 speed figure with Flavion Pratt for the connections of Lael Stables and Arnold Decor. Came in that race beating out Modern Gains and Up to the Mark, who was in a race later on the card. Huge 101 speed figures in that race. Ran 6th in the Tampa Bay Derby. Kind of just flattened out in there. Probably does not want the extra distance. A mile seems to be where Chez Pierre prefers. And again, 7 for 6 lifetime. Even money, basically has a huge prime power of 166, and looks to be the horse of the field, or the class of the field. Second, we're going with Amarati in here with Jose Ortiz for Chad Brown. Comes out of a Saratoga win, again 9 months off, a big layoff, grade 3 stakes race there. A 98 speed figure, which is just off of Chez Pierre. So interesting. The horse has been putting in some pretty good works that are a little bit comparable to the even money favorite in here. Kind of why we're using it as our second choice. Jose Ortiz is hitting at a pretty good clip right now at Belmont Park. So do we think this one could be a possible winner? I think this is a likely single for us on most of our cards and tickets. It's just one that we're trying to find some money to play in these exactas and trifectas. Long shot, which isn't really a big long shot. The only reason it does come out of that Maker's Mark mile as well, and the dinner party, so it is raced um, rather frequently back on May 20th, I believe, and finished third in there. Finished seventh behind Chez Pierre in that Maker's Mark mile at Keeneland. A little bit slower, 88 speed figure, but then rebounded and posted a 96 speed figure, but finished third in that race as well. Long shot play only. It's Irad, Todd Fletcher. Kind of got to give this horse a nod. 10-5 lifetime. I just don't know if it has the class and the speed as the even money favorite, number 1, Chez Pierre. Race 6, we have the Grade 2 Brooklyn Stakes going 1.5 miles here for 4-year-olds and up. We are starting to get into the part of the card that is probably the toughest sequence. When the overnight odds kind of came out of the horses that were drawn in, this sequence of races coming up, leading up to Belmont Stakes, is incredible. Just the feet of the horses that are in, the odds of the horses that are in. I mean, it's clearly throw a dart and see where it lands, and that's the horse you're going with on some of these races. But we kind of saved you some of that, and we handicapped all of them. So here we are using Bright Future as our top pick, 4-1. Interesting enough, the horse does come into Grade 2 company in here off of 2 optional claimers of non-winners of 1 and non-winners of 2. However, in that win of non-winners of 1, did post a pretty good 100 speed figure and then rebounded it with a 94, but placed third. If you look at what the horse was beaten by, definitely a little bit weaker in that last outing. However, the horse, if you read some of the comments, ran on well, drove clear, drew off. So the extra distance, I think, should help Bright Future in here. Hasn't really ran out a mile its entire career. So I think a little bit extra distance should not hurt this horse whatsoever. Next, we are using number 5, 3-1 with Luanne Machado for William Cohen's. Comes out of a $175,000 stakes race at Churchill, going 1.5 miles, finished third in there behind Warrant and Red Run, who is also in here. A little bit slower speed figure. So I'm thinking, I believe it's a little bit of the same. It's the same distance, different track. Belmont, it's a little bit wider turns, if you would, if you're that type of person that looks at that type of angle. The horse has won at 1.5 miles at Delaware Park, and then went 1 mile and 5/8 at Keeneland. So I think it's all about the trip. The horse was favored in that stakes race at Churchill Downs and was able to get beat. I think it just really could not do anything once it kind of got past in, I guess, going to the lead at first call. And then in the stretch, it just really had nothing else and then gave way and ended up finishing third. Third, we are going to use Warrant in here at 5-2 for Flavion Pratt and Brad Cox. Another horse coming out of that Churchill Downs stakes race. This was the winner of that stakes race. Kind of was a press, early speed type horse in that race and was able to clear away at the second call and into the stretch, and then finished, I believe it beat out Red Run by a neck. So interesting to see kind of getting the same jockey in Flavion Pratt. Workouts have been really good for Warrant as well. I just think this is a race that we are spreading and that we are using 4, maybe 5 horses deep, as long as nobody else kind of scratches out. And our long shot, Portos right now for Trevor McCarthy and Thomas Morley. Kind of just, I mean, the rail is hitting 20% right now. Posted a pretty good workout back May 25th. I know that was kind of a couple weeks ago. Comes out of the Excelsior at Aqueduct, finishing 4th in there behind Law Professor. Um, so the horse has ran against the likes of Lone Rock and Warrant and kind of did not do very well. And it was, in fact, in this race last year, um, the horse finished fourth. So hopefully it's improved. Um, Definitely going to have to take a big step forward again. As you can see, the graded stakes races is not what this horse is I guess coming out of, and has a big record for it. So interesting enough to see Portos 15-1. We're willing to take a shot and use this one for a trifecta. We have Red Run as a used horse that we are going to use on our tickets, as well as Lone Rock. Both of these horses, again, coming out of that um, Churchill Downs stake race. We're just going to use it. Another one that kind of weakened or was pulled up was Lone Rock. As you can see, the 69 speed figure gets Javier Castellano aboard. So that change up is definitely one to take note of. Race 7, a mile and a 16th. We have the Ogden Phipps grade 1 for fillies and mares that are 4-year-olds and up. Obviously, we're going to try with Secret Oath here. We know got beat out last time by Played Hard, beat out by Clairiere. One more shot here. We're going to give Secret Oath coming out of the latrine and the Apple Blossom. I mean, it's a great story. D. Wayne Lucas trained this horse. The horse ran and finished third in the Arkansas Derby. Winner of the Kentucky Oaks, comes back in the Preakness against the boys and finishes fourth. I mean, you gotta love the horse's effort, love the horse's ability to basically finish 1, 2, or 3. And as our top pick, I feel like that's a definite in here. Second pick was a toss up. Obviously, Clairiere 6-5, beating out Secret Oath that last time in the Apple Blossom. And then obviously getting bested by Secret Oath in the Aziri back in March as well. So it gets a little bit of a break, 56 days, so close to 2.5 months or 2 months to fire again. I mean, 6-5, that is well respected for Clairiere. And again, could be a 2-horse race. You throw in Played Hard and even search results in here as horses that, have good resumes. It's just which horse is in better shape right now. Obviously, it's probably Clairiere with Secret Oath kind of getting back, or hopefully has one more big race left in her. Our long shot pick, we almost used this horse as our top pick, was Past the Champagne. George Weaver trains this one coming out of that grade 2 Ruffian, beating out Idiomatic, who I believe won last week at Churchill Downs in a big stakes race that they put on. Posted a 101 speed figure in there, going a mile, so going a little bit extra distance. The horse has ran a mile and a 16th. I believe it was at Tampa in a stakes race, finishing second in there. Has raced against the likes of Malathat and Search Results. Finished second to Malathat back 2 years ago and in the Ashland. So comes in here posting an unexpected 101 speed figure at a price that'll probably be close to 10-1. Come post time, we're willing to take a shot in here and try to steal one with Past the Champagne. Definitely using it with Secret Oath and Clairiere in a trifecta. Race 8, 7 furlongs, the Woody Stevens grade 1 stakes race for 400,000 for 3-year-olds. Another great, fabulous betting race. Top pick will be General Gem. Luis Saez, Claude McGahee. Horse comes out of that Pat Day mile, beating out the likes of Fort Bragg and Gilmore, who are also in here. Before that, comes out of the grade 3 Swale at Gulfstream Park with a 97 speed figure, again with Luis Saez aboard. Obviously, the present company was not in that race. So interesting to see what General Jim does here, cutting back in distance, going back or dropping back in distance to that 7 furlong mark after running a mile and winning at Churchill Downs. Second pick, we're going to use Arabian Lion, John Velasquez, Bob Baffert. The horse really impressed in that Sir Barton. Probably could be the post-time favorite. I'm surprised the horse isn't the morning line favorite or closer to the morning line favorite, just by coming out of that. Sir Barton posting a 102 speed figure, gets Johnny Velasquez aboard again. However, it does have the company of Fort Bragg in here, which has beat this horse out before. So interesting to see maybe Fort Bragg trending in the wrong direction. Arabian Lion starting to come around as a late bloomer. Third, we're going to use this big long shot, 12-1 New York Thunder for Ricardo Santana and Jorge Delgado. I know it doesn't have the stakes races under its belt, but does have 3 wins, undefeated in those 3 starts, obviously. Coming out of the Woodstock at Woodbine, 100 speed figure, pretty impressive. Responded really well, and as the comments say, drew away. So the 7 furlong should be easier, or not easier, but should be able to be got from this horse. Son out of Nyquist in here, $130,000 purchase, owned by AMO Racing USA. Posted a pretty good workout, May 27th at Monmouth, going 4 furlongs and 46. However, this is a really good field, a really deep field in here. Federal Judge is another one that's interesting and undefeated, coming out an optional claimer of non-winners of 1. 96 speed figure in there for Flavion Pratt and Rudolph Brissett. Again, stepping into that graded stakes company, should be able to take another step forward in here. Horses like to go fast. This will be a fast race and possibly one that whoever can get out to the lead should be able to settle away with this one. Another long shot pick would be Gilmore with Irad and Brendan Walsh. Brendan Walsh is hitting at a pretty good clip right now. The horse does come out of that Pat Day Mile, finishing 3rd behind General Jim and Fort Bragg. Time before, ran at the Bayshore, grade 3, finishing 2nd to Joey Freshwater. So interesting coming back in here, going back to that 7 furlong distance. See what the horse can do if it has a little bit extra speed. Definitely going to get a pickup from the mount of Irad right now. So at 12-1, definitely one to consider just off of that 3rd place finish last time out. Race 9, we have the Jopper, grade 1 stakes race here for 3-year-olds and up on the turf. These 2 races here that probably the 2 best betting races on the entire card outside the Belmont Stakes, of course, just because it's the Belmont Stakes. But just deep fields, huge classes of horses coming in and wide open, in our opinion. Number 11, Casa Creed, 9-2, Luis Saez Wilmot will be our top pick. Another one coming from that King Abadazi race course, coming out of that turf sprint, grade 3, finishing 2nd in there behind Bathrat Leon. And the time before that, obviously in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, getting beat out by Caravel. Just kind of a bad race for Casa Creed. And obviously they shipped the horse across seas, finishing 2nd in that pretty big turf sprint, grade 3 turf sprint. Comes back in here, trying to, I guess, go a little bit shorter distance in the Jopper. We shall see. I say shorter because if you look back at the last win, that's where the horse picked up, was out going a mile in the, I believe it was the 4-star Dave handicap, grade 1 at Saratoga. Did win the Jopper last year at Belmont, so interesting to see if Casa Creed will hold true and keep his title reign intact. Second pick, we're going to use Caravel right to the outside. Tyler Gaffalione, Brad Cox, winner of 4 in a row. Obviously coming out at Unbridled Sydney on, I believe, Kentucky Oaks Day. $300,000 stakes race. Was not a graded stakes race, but did post a pretty good 93 speed figure and is 2 for 2 so far in 2023. Was the heavy favorite in that race. Time before coming out of that grade 2 Shakertown. And then the big upset in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at like 43-1. The horse was able to wire the field. Has basically done that in its last 3 starts and last 3 wins. The horse gets to the lead and then is able to hold all challengers away. So interesting to see some new horses, new faces that Caravel will be facing, to see if it's able to go gate to wire once more. Third, this one's interesting, and nothing better at 9-1 or 8-1 for Manny Franco and Jorge Duarte Jr. Second last time out in the turf sprint at Pimlico. 90 speed figure in there, got beat out by Beerman Can by a neck. Was close to 3-1, 4-1 in that race. So interesting, was pretty well bet. Has posted some pretty good workouts leading up to that race. So maybe a horse that's trending in the right direction. And a horse that's posted some pretty good speed figures in the high 90s or consistent speed figures in the 90s. Obviously, we're going to use Arrest Me Red on our tickets and Dr. Zimpf. Our long shot play, number 4, Midday Image for Kendrick Carmouche and David Jacobson. We know the horse is coming out of 2 optional claimers, non-winners of 3, non-winners of 2, but has won each one of those. Again, the class is nothing what some of these other horses are running to, but maybe a horse that's trending in the right direction. 30-1 is a pretty good price for a horse that is 2 for 2 in 2023, going 6 furlongs, 5 furlongs, a mile, and a 16th, all on the turf, and does have the Belmont turf experience, posted that 88 speed figure last time out. Does lose, I believe it was Irad Ortiz aboard on that last time out. Gets Kendrick Carmouche again, who has usually won on some big horses in the past or big priced horses. So we're willing to use this horse definitely in our exactas and trifectas at a big price. Next up, race 10. Here we have the Hillendale Met Mile. Of course, going $1 million in here for the 3-year-olds and up. And here we have, yet again, Codys Wish. 7-5 for Junior Alvarado Wilmot, owned by Godolphin. Everybody knows the story of the horse and its connections, and its connection with the little boy, obviously, Cody. So 105 speed figures in the last 3 races. I mean, coming out of that Churchill Downs grade 1 victory, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, the Forgo, 3 grade 1 wins in a row for Codys Wish at obviously the favorite in each of those races. Seems to be the horse that is untouchable right now and seems to be probably the best horse in the older male division. I don't think anybody's going to touch him again coming in here. If anybody would be close, possibly charge it. Interesting to see what this horse does coming off a little bit of a layoff. Does get John Velasquez aboard. Again, the speed figures are there, but just not at the level of what Codys Wish is right now in training or on the track in any race. Codys Wish seems to be the horse of all horses. Next, we have number 3, Dr. Shivel, 10-1, Irad with Mark Glatt. Won an allowance race, big speed figure in 103 in there. Time before was over in Dubai at Maidan. Finished 3rd. I believe they went 6 furlongs. And then, boom, comes right back into that Malibu, or into the allowance. But looking back, if you look, the horse ran in the grade 1 Malibu, was beat out by Flightline, Baby Yoda, Stiletto Boy. Breeders' Cup Sprint, beat out by Aloha West, and finished 2nd. Ran, I believe it was the Santa Anita Sprint, finished 1st. The Bing Crosby grade 1, finished 1st. So if you look outside of the Malibu, where it ran against Flightline, who we all know what Flightline is capable of, this horse is pretty good. 11-6 in its career, and it has one bad start in the Malibu against Flightline. So absolutely a horse that's kind of interesting. Went across seas, comes back to an allowance, steps in here, kind of quietly, beat out CZ Rocket in that race, posting a 103 speed figure, and is at 10-1 currently, with a chance to run second to Codys Wish. So definitely one that we're going to take a swing at here is Dr. Shivel. Long shot, we're going with Hoist the Gold again. We use this horse in the Churchill Downs grade 1. Finished 2nd in there. again, behind Codys Wish. Hopefully we get that same effect. Maybe second or third is what will likely happen again with Hoist the Gold. Again, if you read the comment, the horse was no match, as it possibly should be with the likes of Codys Wish. We have race 11 going 1.25 miles on the inner turf, the Manhattan, the Grade 1 Resorts World Casino Manhattan Stakes. Purse is $750. We're going on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up. A great sequence of races again going back here on the turf as we get closer and closer to the Belmont Stakes. Here, our top pick will be number 3, Warrant. Richard Mullen, Charlie Appleby comes in here out of the Man of War Grade 1 Stakes race at Belmont back May 13th. Finished 5th behind the likes of Red Knight and Soldier Rising, who are also in here. If you go back and watch, kind of had a weird break, and then kind of just went away slowly after that, and just really kind of never got it going. If you look at the line, I mean, the horse started 7th, first call 7th, second call was up to 3rd in the stretch. The horse was up in first by a head and then finishes 5th. So of course, if we get a better break out of Warren Point, definitely one that could be a factor, and a pretty good price at 5-1. Still got a 96 speed figure in that Man of War after having that bad break. And the time before that, I mean, if you look, comes out of the Grade 1, or Grade 1 Stakes, a mere trophy, finishing second. The Royal Highness, I don't think that one was a grade stakes race, finishing first in there, and then another stakes race in Great Britain, finishing first. So the horse has had really good races up to that Man of War, where it, of course, had the bad break and kind of got to the lead and then failed to the lead in a stretch. So interesting enough, we're going to use it, try to get a little bit better break, hopefully, here for Warren Point. Second, we're going to use Up to Mark, the favorite in here with Irad and Todd Fletcher. Most people are probably going to single this horse, coming out of that Grade 1 Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, beating out Hong Kong Harry and Spooky Channel. Gets Irad aboard again. This horse will probably be flying late, coming from the back like it has done in the past. Kind of stepped into that Grade 1 out of the Maker's Mark. Again, was racing at Shakespeare in Modern Games, finished 3rd in there. And then, boom, right into Turf Classic, picking up its first graded stakes win, I do believe. Third, we're going to use Ottoman Fleet with William Buick and the other Charlie Appleby raced horse. So basically, if you look at Warren Point and Ottoman Fleet, they're kind of doing a flip-flop-ish on their jockeys. Richard Mullen is going back to Warren Point, and William Buick kind of coming back to Ottoman Fleet. So that's interesting to see. As you can see, they both have been on both horses. So maybe it's a choice thing of what they want. Ottoman Fleet coming out of that Fort Marcy Grade 2 Stakes race with a win at Belmont, going 1.125 miles on that turf. A horse that has done really well and posted a pretty good workout June 4th, going 5 furlongs on the firm turf. And I believe it was a minute and some change. Interesting enough, the horse has done really well outside of that. Grade 3 stakes races, Grade 2 stakes races, where it's finished second at Dubai. And then a couple other Grade 2 stakes races at Ascot as well. So again, got to take in consideration when these Euro horses come here, race once, and then stay here for an even bigger race, or to pick up another graded stakes race. Both of these two Godolphin owned. Both of these Charlie Appleby trained and gets obviously really good jockeys in Richard Mullen and William Buick. And our long shot, there it is. Strong Quality, number 2 for Florent Giroux and Mark Casse. 2 wins in a row, coming out of an optional claimer of non-winners of 1 and an allowance race of non-winners of 2. 90 speed figure in the first, 91 in the second. Gulfstream and Keeneland going a 7 furlongs and 1.16 miles. So seems to be one that's in the right state of mind right now. Of course, the Prime Power is ranked ninth at 145 coming in here. It's not the class of some of these other horses, but at 15 to 1, Mark Cassie comes in, gets Florent Giroux back aboard, coming off of 2 wins. We're willing to use this horse for a trifecta as a pretty good price of 15 to 1. Anything can usually happen on these turf courses. Soldier Rising is an interesting one. Comes out of that Man of War, finishing second in there. Does get Jose again aboard. And of course, Red Knight, the winner of the Man of War, is in here for Mike Maker and Tyler Gaffalione for the first time. I just think the 2 Euro shippers are the better horses coming in. Obviously, Up to the Mark has the quality, and obviously the reason for that 8 to 5 morning line favorite. All right, here we go. Race 12, the big Belmont Stakes, going a mile and a half. We all know, we all have kind of our own opinion of what we think will shake out in this race. So here is our picks. Top pick, obviously, Tappet Trice, 3 to 1. Luis Saez, Todd Fletcher, 7th in the Kentucky Derby, 1st in the Bluegrass. If you look, kind of was bumped, I believe, at like first call in the Kentucky Derby. Again, the style just does not set up for that horse. We knew it was going to come off the pace. I just didn't think it had enough pace to run into for its style. And if you go back and watch our Kentucky Derby videos, we talked about Tappet Trice being a Belmont horse, being the horse for the Belmont. Well, here he is, here like we expected, coming into the Belmont Stakes. Some pretty good workouts. People have been really impressed of how he looks over the track, the way he looks fit and ready to go this extra mile and a half. Of course, a lot of talk being, Todd Fletcher. Is it good? Is it bad? What's going to happen with that? Of the news of Forte and failing the post race drug test or whatever that was. So right now, I just think this horse with the pedigree is the one that's better suited for this type of distance. Does come in off of that layoff, obviously skipping the Preakness, coming into the Belmont, or saving everything for the Belmont Stakes. Wish it was a little bit better price of 5 to 6 to 1, but 3 to 1 definitely will take into consideration. Second, we are going with Angel of Empire. This horse was our Kentucky Derby pick, finished 3rd in the Kentucky Derby for us. Was kind of excited that it skipped the Preakness because we knew it was going to come into the Belmont Stakes for Brad Cox. Sticks with Flavion Pratt aboard, the winner of the Arkansas Derby, the winner of the Risen. Has posted some pretty good workouts as well, training on the Churchill Downs track. So I believe this horse has shipped in earlier this week, setting itself up for the big running of the Belmont Stakes. Again, kind of going with this horse off of that rest. Brad Cox, hit or miss, I guess, at the Belmont Stakes. But interesting enough, the horse was gaining if you look back on Mage. So maybe the extra distance is what this horse could be fit for. Has been running a mile. I think it ran 6 furlongs one time in its career. So definitely has been going the distance, going to go a little extra distance in here. And obviously that Classic Empire line should be okay for Angel of Empire. Third, we're going to use Forte. Obviously, big layoff is the big question. Is he fully healed? Again, you don't want to see this horse have anything bad happen or anything along those lines. Again, with the Todd Fletcher and this horse failing I don't even remember how to, maybe the Hopeful, I think, is where it did not pass a drug test or something along those lines. Interesting enough that this horse is favorited after coming off of a big layoff. Workouts are obviously comparable to Tappet Trice and Angel of Empire. If you look early on, Tappet Trice was training with Forte, and I think now they've kind of broken apart a little bit and aren't doing their morning workouts together, or not, I guess, running side by side together in that fact. So interesting enough, I mean, yes, Rapoli stable, Todd Fletcher, Arado Ortiz definitely wants one back after having to miss the Kentucky Derby. and obviously having to miss the Preakness, because I feel like that's where they would have put this horse, is if it did not um, have that vet issue. So interesting enough, I think another one that again is going to have that pace set up to kind of run from off the pace that it's done before. Looking at the Fountain of Youth and the Florida Derby, it's just Sons of Violence going at the extra mile and a half. That's the big question mark for us. We're just going to use it just because it's probably a little bit rested up from some of these other horses, such as National Treasure coming out of that Preakness. Probably will be a horse that'll be there. And of course, if it beats us, it beats us. It beat us in the Preakness. We're going to let the horse beat us if it beats us in the Belmont Stakes. Arcangelo is a pretty unique horse. Coming out of that Peter Pan 101 speed figure. Pretty good speed figure in there. Javier Castellano gets the mount. So obviously Mage skipping out here after running twice. So we could see another Triple Crown win for Javier Castellano. Longshot, we're going to use Hit Show. Again, this horse was our long shot pick in the Kentucky Derby. Finished fifth. Ran on really well. Kind of was eighth place, first place at first call, then got up to third. And then, of course, in the stretch was, I believe, passed by Two Phils or Angel of Empire there and finished fifth. So interesting enough to see if the mile and a half is what this horse wants. Obviously, out of Candy Ride, has Tap It on the dam side, so it has the breeding pedigree for this type of race. Another one with Brad Cox in here, like Angel of Empire. Another one that has skipped the Preakness and has kind of set itself up to run in the Belmont Stakes. So at 10-1, kind of love this horse at a good price. Definitely one we're going to use in some exactas, possibly a trifecta with Angel of Empire and Tap It Trice. Bigger tickets, we may throw this horse in on a pick 4, pick 5. Just kind of looking at things, how they're setting up right now. We're probably going to stick with the 3 horses in this field on our pick 4, pick 5 tickets. There's our picks for the Belmont Stakes card, a full stakes races and a lot of video to thumb through. So make sure you go back and watch this video to get all those picks, write them down, or just check out down below of our blog where we kind of have all of our picks listed and our ticket structures listed for the Belmont Stakes. So you can just follow that right along as you watch the Belmont Stakes on your TV and wager with whatever wagering app that you use. We appreciate you for sticking around and watching this whole video that we've handicapped all these races and including the Belmont Stakes. Or if you skip to the Belmont Stakes part of it, we wish you luck and continue giving us a like, leave a comment down below of your best bet, and hit that subscribe button and share this video. We thank you for watching.